Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the 80s Cinema Club.
It's getting less and less enthusiastic already.
Okay, well, you know, it's hard these days. Second episode.
Enough, yeah. Second episode, we're already falling off.
With me, Harry Peden, and my co-hosts...
Alfie Meeman.
And...
Leo Turt.
Yeah. We are back for episode 2. Where this week we'll be reviewing Brazil, which came out in 1985.
Not the country.
We're not reviewing the entire country.
That would be a little bit longer than
And this
40
time,
minutes.
Alfie has got us a synopsis for the plot. So take
the
it away.
synopsis for Brazil is set somewhere in the 20th century. Brazil follows a low-ranking bureaucrat, Sam Lowry, played by Jonathan Pryce, who's been driven insane by the hyper-bureaucratic dystopian world in which he lives, as he dreams of flying away from his life and spending eternity with the woman of his dreams. This film has it all, from wing-bearing heroes fighting grotesque baby-faced monsters, rogue terrorist air conditioner repairmen, led by Harry Tuttle, played by Robert De Niro, a torture-endorsing wheelchair-bound Santa Claus, and a whole host of fantastically inefficient machines.
Well, that definitely sounds like a film that we have watched
Yeah.
pretty recently.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting, isn't it?
Very recent.
Okay, so let's waste no time and let's move on to our likes and our dislikes. Okay, so Theo, your likes of Brazil.
Well, I'll stick to the likes for now. I think there might be a longer list for dislikes.
Please stick to your very short list of likes.
Yeah.
There was for Blade Runner as well, wasn't it? Though?
Yeah.
Not my dislike.
There we go. So, what is it that you like?
I mean, I'm a big fan of like law enforcement being in films, but also the way that they had. I wouldn't call it technology, because what it looked like from some place was just a mirror to look at a TV. But the TV's always being on. Like it's a staple of what 80s was like.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I said to my mum, it feels more like a 60s film with just
True, yeah.
just like the way
Yeah.
stuff happened in it. Like TV's being a staple throughout it. It
Yeah.
felt more 60s because it was the big rise of it.
Mm-hmm, true.
I mean, in Lowry's house, some of the technology with his toaster.
Yeah.
I think it's not really technology, but the way he had that set up for the toaster land perfectly.
It was really like Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
I
the first scene from that.
It reminded me of like Wallace and Gromit.
Oh yeah, their contraptions.
Everything,
True.
he wakes up and everything's already done for him. But again, that links in the fact that the whole film's about how inefficient that world is because none of it works. You end up with coffee being poured all over the toast.
Yeah.
Is it just me or did he keep his money in the microwave?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
That
he did.
really threw me
He
off.
kept his money in the microwave to
Very
pay
paranoid.
Harry.
Yeah.
He kept his money in there. That was
Harry
another
Tuttle.
like the character of Harry from when he first shown up to
Yeah.
the last time we seen him. Like going into the house, like he phones up on the wrong call, being someone else, and then he appears behind him with a gun.
Yeah.
So it's like
Air conditioner repairman
Yeah.
with a gun. That was interesting.
he's got to be ready for everything because he shouldn't be working there.
Because
Yeah.
he's a terrorist air conditioner repairman.
Yes.
Like,
Possibly
obviously.
not real terrorist air conditioner repairman. So
That's also true.
I mean, he might be seen as the terrorist air conditioner repairman, but the end bit, I think, controversial opinion, quite a good terrorist because he saved his life. In Lowry's dream world, obviously he's been saved.
It was
Yeah.
more the line of actually quite a good terrorist was the funny part. But
That's
no,
fair,
he's
that's fair.
more of a hero to the small people. He's seen as a terrorist by the big Ministry of Information because he's interfering with them. But he's genuinely just someone who's trying to change the crux
Yeah.
system.
So you like Robert De Niro's character of Harry
Yeah.
Tuttle, and you like kind of some of the contraptions they made.
Yeah, and well, wasn't supposed to be a romance film, but sort of I don't know how much of it was in the dream world of Lowry and how much of it was real.
That's true.
But I think, although there was some creepy parts of him going for his pursuit for her, like every time he got kicked out the car, like he's holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
But like
Woman tries to murder him. Nah.
It sort of shows where he had his mind set.
Yeah.
True.
I've wrote my notes at one point. He does seem come across as almost like a bit of a simp for the woman he's never met in his life. Feels this overwhelming urge to protect her.
I know. I guess it's like he has nothing else to live for.
No, like literally.
He's been dreaming about this. I just want to put it out there, right?
Yeah.
She looks totally different when she puts the wig on. Is that just... How did he recognise her with, like, her short, kind of more 2000s looking hair?
Because it's true
like
love.
The really long, flowing...
Dystopian true love.
I don't know. I didn't think it was the same person at first. Like...
Yeah, but you can... Like, when he goes and gets the information about her...
Yeah.
Like, you can see... Like, the information gets put down... I think it was a distinct mark on the left side.
Yeah.
So it's obviously that's in his dream world as well. So that's sort of what he's looking out for a woman with a distinct mark on the left that has somewhat resemblance to, as it says in one of the official synopsis, his damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely,
I mean...
He seems more in distress through all the film than she does, to be fair. But,
I mean, his pursuit for that, it just makes me think too much of Harry Peden.
I don't do that. I can't talk to women. Anyway. I've told Theo not to do these jokes, but it's fine.
Sorry.
Keep it in. Alfie.
We roll with it, I guess.
Alfie, what do you like about the film?
I mean, overall, the overarching thing with Brazil is that it's a head mess the entire way through, that nothing really quite makes sense, and you're left questioning, especially at the end, as to what was real and what was in sort of Lowry's dream. Mm-hmm. And while that's kind of seen as probably an issue with the film that's kind of hard to watch, I like the fact that none of it really made sense. It gave it this weird element of humour that you're looking at the world through a very deluded bureaucrat's eyes in Sam Lowry. And it was quite funny throughout the whole thing, especially his ineptitudes. And I actually quite liked the overall message of that this type of world just doesn't function well. And it was more... I can't remember, it's someone Gilliam, the director, I can't remember his first name, maybe Terry Gilliam. He put that it was less of a showing of a warning of the future, it's more that saying to people that this is what life is like now, even though you might not realise it, that these little parts of our society don't quite work, but people still go along with it.
Yeah, I was saying I quite like the mix between, like, because it's 85 now, they're quite into the decade when this was released.
Yeah.
And it's a very British cast. And it feels like it's a British filmmaker as well. But it kind of feels like a mix between the two societies of America and Britain at the time. Sure. Because America was very, like, they were in another boom of money, like everything. And that was kind of shown in all the really rich people, like
his mother.
Like Lowry's mother. Like Sam Lowry's mother, she's like, all these things she's doing, really lavish.
Yeah.
But then there's like, Sam goes to like the poverty line. Like, he goes to all these places that are all run down, like council houses in Britain and things like in the 1980s when you had the miners' strikes and things like that. That's what it kind of pushes, I think, towards... It's a British filmmaker, but it seems like more of an American city.
True, especially in the big areas.
Yeah, they're like the big skyscrapers, and like even London, it doesn't feel like that. I know it's also a futuristic city, but it doesn't feel like that. I think other things I liked about it was I quite liked the end. So
yeah, I thought the end was quite good.
I didn't actually look at the film like it was a whole dream sequence. I thought the dream was basically like not his dream of when he's flying away and he's trying to get that is a dream. When he's getting rescued by Harry and the other terrorists, then they escape and then they blow up the building and then you find out that Jill's still alive. Yeah, and then they're driving off and then it cuts back to him just like being tortured essentially. And then the song Brazil plays, which is what the film's on. It zooms out. I really like that ending.
Humming it as well,
and sometimes fake out endings like that are really put like down. But I think it worked for the fact that it's not a happy ending.
No, it was perfect. I thought it was very good.
Like, it wasn't a happy ending. They made it a happy ending, and then they basically just went, "Oh, a massive fuck you." It's not there.
First F-bomb.
Like, it's not. Yeah, it's not there.
I like the fact that it didn't have to be a happy ending. It felt like it fit the theme of the film a lot more, showing that I mean, there wasn't really any good things that happened throughout the whole film. Obviously, Lowry meets with Jill, who's his woman of his dreams, and then she gets killed for resisting arrest with him. Because you get that fake out as well when, I forget his name, Mr. Helpman, I think it was, the Ministry of Information's deputy head,
Yes.
when he's talking to Lowry before he's about to be tortured, and he says, it seems like that girl died, and Lowry's obviously then a little bit more confident because he's faked the records to make it look like she died, she wasn't pursued anymore. And he says, actually, no, the way thing is she's died twice now. It's just really strange on the books. And it's like, you can just see it breaks him. He realises that now all that he did, it was for nothing. She's died regardless because of his issue, because ultimately they were there to get him, not her, and she just got caught in the crossfire.
It was kind of a bit of a way to put it. So it's like she's died twice, and that could then be his like hallucination of grief of him, because he's being tortured, and like they're trying to get information out of him about the terrorists that he's like been with. So him like imagining that he's being tortured from terrorists, he then thinks in his mind that the terrorists have come to save him, where really he's not of any value to them.
No, and there's still the question of whether he was actually involved with the terrorists to begin with, or whether it was just the Ministry of Information's own issues in accusing this possibly innocent guy of terrorist acts, like they did with Harry Buttle. The mistake at the start where this innocent...
The beetle, I think, drops from the ceiling, crushes it, and it changes the typewriter to say a B instead of a T.
The whole film happens because a beetle drops in a typewriter. That's pretty fun. Because if that mistake didn't happen there, you wouldn't have got Harry Potter arrested. It's like Ant-Man,
and no, it's not Ant-Man. It's like an Endgame when the...
Oh, yeah.
What is it? It's the mouse that runs across the van in Endgame, and it opens the entire portal, and Ant-Man comes out and he's like, I can fix the universe. It's like, it is like... They meant to make it a coincidence, though. Like, I think that was part of, like, the funniness of the comedy of the film, which I didn't get a lot of it.
Yeah. The whole thing was caused by this one.
This whole thing was caused by this one thing. Yeah, I think you've got to touch on with the special effects are quite good.
True,
The set designs, like Theo said about the machines and contraptions that they make, they're very, like... They've put up a lot of detail into them. Yeah. So with, like, the telephone...
Yeah, true.
It is...
Having to plug in multiple cords to get to a single...
It's cool. Like when you used to have telephone, like when the first started, there was telephone companies that connected you to different lines. They're having to do it themselves, which I thought was really good.
It's the fact that they have air conditioning in what might have been England really confusing. It's like, why the house is so warm?
Yeah.
Equally, that leads on to the fact this film starts with talking about ducts, which I find quite interesting, essential services. And then looking into it more, I'd seen someone make a point, I think on IMDb, about the ducts almost act as like the similar sort of umbilical cords going through all the buildings to show that people in this world can't live away from this centralised government they've got. That they're almost like the children who have to be attached to this government to survive.
Well, because
the whole thing, because
he rang them and they're like, we can't send anyone.
Yeah,
were they the only ones who can fix it?
And they're completely dependent.
I really thought, I have no idea what their ideas are, but the two mechanics they send, which like you see throughout the film, coming back to the apartment, like ripping it apart with all the air conditioners. It just seemed like a bit of like a weird Mario and Luigi.
I did, yeah.
I got like feeling. The plumbing brothers, but these ones are air conditioning.
The air conditioner brothers.
I mean, go back to the plumbing brothers when they get their suits.
Oh god!
And Harry comes back. It is indeed, I think, as they say, filled with shit.
Yeah,
so,
literally.
Yeah, it could be seen as the Mario and Luigi brothers, and you've got the Shaw main one in the front doing all the talking.
Yeah.
And you've just got the one in the background that just repeat the last word he says.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else I like about it. Can anybody else?
I mean, in general, I found the film quite fun in the fact that once you realise that the film makes no sense, you can just sort of sit back and appreciate the chaos that is Brazil, which is kind of one of the reasons I was like, I actually quite enjoyed it, given the fact that the film had no central real story to it. It was all quite all over the place, but the little idiosyncrasies, I guess, of the characters sort of, especially towards the start where they're all in the restaurant eating what looks like blended dog food for the dishes that look revolting, and a bomb goes off behind them and they all keep casually eating the food and a screen's put up to block off this burning body.
That was a scene.
Face.
I didn't find the rest of the film quite funny, but it was like that moment where I thought they mixed it quite well. So I don't know, if we move on to the dislikes, I didn't like the balance of tone. So I thought that worked, and I thought, that is pretty funny. It's trying to show like them, but then the other points in the film, especially where I think they're in like a shopping centre, and Jill's running away from him, and then a bomb goes off because he thinks there's a bomb in her bag because she's a terrorist. But they don't balance it very well at all. It's like one moment he's cracking jokes, and I know it's supposed to be a dark comedy. That's the whole point of it. But they really need to figure out when they wanted to do it, because one time it was like slapstick comedy of him like on the front of a truck, like spread eagle, and then the next moment like there was old people getting walked away with blood coming like all down them.
It definitely was a weird contrast.
In the end, in his like dream sequence again, a melted body comes out of a coffin. I found it funny in the fact that it was the woman who was trying to get all the surgery done, like Lowry's mother, so she just died. But I also thought it just because I like films that are a bit like out there and crazy, but it just, I really didn't think they could balance it properly.
It feels like Brazil definitely pushes the boat out a little bit too far in places of making it a bit too crazy to the point it's kind of hard to follow through a lot of it. But you know, I guess that's probably part of the charm of the film more than anything. Especially, I can't really think more about that than that. In terms of dislikes for me, really, I'm trying to think.
I mean, something that could be seen as the dislike is the main storyline of the film was just everywhere.
Yeah,
so
that's valid.
One minute you'd be...
Yeah, it was hard to piece together where it all comes from.
Yeah, it's like that main last dream sequence, like there was sort of, I didn't see any like segue into it. So it sort of just confused me at the end when he was still sat in the chair. So I was like, when I seen that, I was like, wait, that was his final dream sequence.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see anything that sort of led you into knowing that it was a dream sequence.
But that's the point, because I think it's trying to show that you think he's escaped.
Yeah.
And like, it's now, oh no, look, happy ending, everyone's alive, and then it cuts back to him just like crying and like being tortured.
Well, he's gone insane, isn't he? It ends with him humming in Brazil.
Exactly.
It was another, like you said, it was another British director, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So once again, I think that dream, like a sort of dream ending, could have been their Hollywood ending.
Yeah, their American ending.
That's Terry Gilliam.
Hollywood made their version of it. They just cut out the last bit of him still sat there in the chair crying.
Yeah, we talked about this with Blade Runner last week. It, like the Americanized endings, where it seemed like they basically did a U-turn on him and went, no, it's not. This is really sad.
I think it actually happened because Terry Gilliam, there was some, in looking for the trivia for this episode, there was a lot of Terry Gilliam actually fighting against Universal Studios who wanted to create a more tame Americanized version, and I tried to figure out before the episode as to whether they changed the end very much or not, and I couldn't, but I would imagine that is probably, like Theo said, that it would just cut at the point of Jill and Sam Lowry living in the little idealised cottage out away from the world, which is what you wanted all along.
See, 3 of my points now come together, which I think for the dislikes.
Yeah.
It's too long because the second half is rushed. So you have the first half of the film, which is Lowry basically doing his day-to-day job, slowly unravelling the characters' stories. So he tries to go refund Mrs. Buttle for the death of her husband. You meet Robert De Niro's character for the first time, the terrorist, and stuff like that. And then he finally finds Jill, and it like goes at 3 times speed for like the rest of the film.
Yeah, it's very fast.
So that means you don't get any development in their relationship. So he's like, oh yeah, I need to talk to you, blah, 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 and he's hanging onto the truck. Yeah. And then you go to this warehouse where they drive through the entire thing, there's the police there. And like, what is going on? Like, because it's the same day, probably like 4 hours later, they end up like having sex.
Yeah, it's...
Like, they get like, she now loves him or whatever. What is going on? Like, he goes and gets her, like, to be said she's dead, in quotation marks, because she's not. That was the whole point, and gets found anyway. But it just doesn't seem... There's no character or relationship building in it. Because there's not really a redeeming arc for Lowry, or any kind of arc. He's just there. Yeah. He likes this person in his dream. It's kind of... I know a lot of the film has to be insinuated. That's the whole point, to try and, like, tell you not specifically what's going on, try and give you them like messages. But there's just nothing between like the two characters.
Yeah, it's kind of like we said last week with Rick and Rachel in Blade Runner, isn't it? There's very much that almost flick of a switch, and then all of a sudden the two completely love each other and want to spend their rest of their lives together.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Lowry and I forget her name again. Jill. So I don't know whether that's, again, that could be just something of the times, or just the fact that in a film where it's both essentially seen as sci-fi films, although I think Brazil leans slightly more into like a, I don't know, dystopian satirical view, that the two don't really put relationships as being the key point of the film, which is a bit strange to then have the key point of the film be this relationship but never explore it very much.
Yeah,
I get what you mean.
It seems like they jump from like, they go through the stage of a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they meet, they kind of know each other for a bit.
Yeah.
They then get together, and then she dies. It's like they've rushed like 60 years of someone's life in like in 30 minutes of the film.
Oh my god!
And the film's like 2 hours 20 minutes long.
Yeah, the film is god awfully too long. Yeah. Really, it could have been cut down a lot more, and I think it'd make the film a little bit more enjoyable because then there's a little bit less sensory overload that way, because it is a very much. You definitely have to think about the film when you're watching it to not get caught up and just lose attention really quick. So if you did, if the film was, I don't know, say 20, 25 minutes shorter, I think it'd be a lot easier
like
to
2
watch.
hours would have been...
2 hours would have been more than enough, to be fair. Even if you cut it to like 150, I'm sure it would have worked way better than the 2 hour 25 minute cut or something.
Yeah, almost 2.5 hours. But like Harry said, the first half of it, like the sort of unravelling things, developing the character of Kyle, like it was...
Kyle?
No, what?
Kyle.
Lowry.
Lowry. Sam.
Sam.
Lowry.
I don't know where I got Kyle from.
Ordered too much South Park.
Yes. But like the first half of that with Lowry, sort of unravelling his character, seeing the type of person that he is. Like if they kept that, I wouldn't say keep that pace, because there was at times it was going a bit slow.
Mm-hmm.
They needed like a middle ground between what they did with the end bit and how they started the film off.
But then to the end bit, you went from not really one extreme to another, but you went from sort of easing into character development, finding stuff out, to like I think half of the film, so over an hour of just rushed work for it all.
Yeah.
I feel
I'm trying to think about multi-fair, because obviously the whole film is from Lowry's perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I guess possibly the reason why it's such a strange film is that he's a very unreliable narrator throughout the whole thing. You get the dream sequences, and some of the dream sequences felt like they went on for way too long. Like the one with the grotesque baby monsters and the samurai was quite strangely long. I'd actually quite like the samurai thing, and looking again.
Like I said, it was really good special effects.
Yeah,
because obviously it's not CGI. It's like they've made that and like done it, so it's really good.
Yeah, that samurai thing, when I seen that and just sort of the way that the fighting was going, I immediately thought of Transformers. like you think of
this massive like metal being.
Yeah, you think of like the original Transformers and sort of Power Rangers mixed together.
It did feel a bit Power Rangers-esque, didn't it?
You think of
that's
them,
true, that's
like
true.
That metal character, it just brought two like
Megazord meets Transformers.
Yeah. It brought them together, and it was just, I was like, what is going on? Like, am I watching Brazil or have Transformers and Power Rangers done a collaboration? Yeah.
Segueing off that, then we'll go to what we rated it.
Oh god!
Because this is going to be very interesting. I think you want to calculate this, Alfie.
I'll get
so
ready.
Theo, what have you rated Brazil?
I mean, before hearing other points about the film, which have been valid points that I didn't pick up on myself watching it. Originally, I would have given it probably 2.5.
Whoa!
I wasn't a big fan of it.
So you're giving it a 2.5 or not?
No. With some of the points that have been made today, and a message we've had saying you don't think you'd rate it lower than Blade Runner.
I don't think I'd rate it lower than that.
I do agree here in some points. It's not a lot better than Blade Runner, but I would call it a mid-ground film and sort of smack bang average on a 5.
I mean,
okay,
that's probably going to puzzle
Alfie?
both of us. Yeah, as we were... So I was messaging our group chat for this morning, and I was... Because overall watching it, I enjoyed it more than Blade Runner, but it feels like I definitely rated Blade Runner too highly last episode, so I do apologise.
The reliable ratings.
Yes.
For the Cinema Club.
But, you know, it was more enjoyable for me to watch than Blade Runner, but I can't warrant giving it higher than Blade Runner was, really, without going to some stupid, 7.1 stuff, which I don't want to do. So I think I'm going to have to give it, a solid 6.5.
Okay. So... I didn't like it at all. Well, no, I wouldn't say at all. There was aspects of it that I did like, but to me, it kind of felt like a mess. So for that, I've given it a 4.
Ooh.
Which gives us, for Brazil 1985, the 80 Cinema Club score is
5.2.
5.2. So it's
0.3 worse than Blade Runner.
0.3 worse than our first film. You know, we're going strong here.
We're really optimistic with these film ratings here.
We got some good ones to come, okay?
True.
Right, so this week, Alfie has given us the questions for this week, so we shall move on to that.
Right, so we're going to do the trivia round. It's going to work a little bit different to how we did it last time. So I prepared sort of 8 or 9 statements from the film. So in the background of shots in Brazil, there's a lot of very strange posters that have some pretty interesting taglines on them. So I've got a set of them here, either from Brazil or not from Brazil, and whoever gets the most points in this short, quick-fire section will get the point for this question. And we'll have 2 more afterwards. But
take account of which ones you get right then, Theo.
Yeah, so you ready to start?
I'll use my fingers.
Okay. So the first one, try and answer this as quickly as possible and don't confer, because we don't want this to go on for too long. The truth shall set you free.
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil.
It is Brazil. Have you seen this man? Don't let him mess with your pipes. This is a picture of...
Yeah, that's Brazil.
Not Brazil.
Not Brazil.
Oh.
Theo's at 2, Harry's on 1. Don't suspect a friend, report him.
Yeah, that's Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 3-2 at the moment. Suspicious neighbours, suspicious friends, family. Anyone could be a terrorist.
That's not Brazil.
Brazil.
It's not Brazil.
Yes.
3-3.
Evening it out.
Sea spray flavoured cigarettes.
Not Brazil.
That's Brazil.
It's Brazil.
Yes. Pulling ahead.
Capitalists for Christ.
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil.
Brazil. Central Services wants you.
No.
Brazil.
Not Brazil.
It is Brazil.
No.
Mr. Helpman wishes all cooperative products a very Merry Christmas. It was on a little Christmas card.
No, not Brazil.
Brazil.
It's not Brazil.
Oh, that's me then, yeah.
Beware this Christmas. They're everywhere. Poster of an exploding cooked turkey. So imagine like Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Not Brazil.
It's not Brazil. And that's actually. So
I got 6.
Oh man, it's a tie. That's kind of my
any other questions? Can you think of anything on the top of your head for a tie break?
No, we'll just give a point to each.
Point for
we'll
each
go for that.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's a point
Right,
for
so
me and a
now
point
for
for Theo.
Our more
Harry gets his
regular.
first point of the
Woohoo!
season.
Yeah,
This is his first question.
True, so it's what? It's 2-2-1 at the moment now. Ooh,
Yep.
I'm going to be off behind.
Right. 2 questions.
So now on to our more regular questions. So, which of these 3 options was a potential title for Brazil? Prisoner of Information, 1984 and a half, or Children of the Ducts?
Ooh.
You can confer with this one because we need to draw this out a little bit. I went very quick there.
What was the second one?
1984 and a half.
Do you reckon that would be put down on a film?
Just because I think I read something about 1984 and a half. I can't remember if it was Brazil though. I think I'm going to go B, 1984 and a half.
There you are.
I'll go for A.
Prisoners of Information, was it?
Yeah.
The answer is 1984 and a half.
Yes! Wasn't it, this? Do you read the full trivia for this? Because wasn't it because they wanted to call it 1985, but the movie 1985 came out in 1985?
They wanted to call it 1984 and a half, but 1984 came out.
Oh,
so they couldn't call it that because they'd be like, oh, we're going to get issues with George Orwell.
Something like that. I can't... 1984, not 1985.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It's so out there, you wouldn't think.
Yeah, well, it's just funny, isn't it? It doesn't sound like it very well.
Another point to me.
Another point, so Harry's now at
2-2-2.
That's 2-2-2.
Oh, so I could
so this could be Theo.
Harry could actually go top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
from one round.
You'll be asking the questions next week though, so you won't get any points from that.
That's valid. Right, this is a little true or false. So the end scene where Sam Lowry's being tortured inside of that giant cooling tower. True or false? That cooling tower has now been demolished as an IKEA.
This is like the T-side question.
Yeah, it feels too much like the T-side question. So I feel like you might have used this question to sort of catch us out, and make us think of the T-side. That it's so.
Yeah,
I'm still going true.
What's so niche that
I'm still going true.
I'm going to say false. I don't think it is.
Well, Harry's in the lead because it is true. The torch scene filmed at the end of the movie was in a former coal and glass-fired power station in Croydon. In 1981, everything but 2 chimneys were demolished, and a strange turn of events, IKEA opened a storefront where the plant used to be, causing shoppers to engage in capitalism. It was the whole IMDb thing that I copied up.
Just before the Croydon. It was in Croydon.
It was in
Have we got
Croydon.
the coordinates of where it is? I want to go to that IKEA.
Oh my god, 80 Cinema Club trip to IKEA.
We film an episode in the IKEA.
we set up on one of the tables.
Yeah. We strap Harry down and we torture him in a public IKEA.
We got one of the showrooms.
Yeah.
With
I'm
the
down
tables.
for it.
2025 for the 40th anniversary of Brazil. We torture
2025, it's not too far
someone.
away.
It's not far. So if this goes well, live torture video.
I guess then, in this section...
I'll go on the TikTok.
How relevant... The relevance do we think this is today? Should you watch it? Should you not? Is it?
If you ever have a surplus of drugs and or alcohol and want a good time, watch it and it'll be pretty fun. I'd say honestly, relevance wise, it's seen as one of the best British films made. Ironically, I think I'll double check my facts here.
Yeah,
I've seen a message in the group chat saying one of the best sci-fi films.
It is. It's seen as one of the most cult, like, sci-fi films, like one of the best. It has a 98% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.9 on IMDb, I think.
It's definitely a cult thing, isn't it?
So it's a lot higher than what we rated it.
I mean, that's obviously on a much bigger scale. Like, there's 3 people voting here. There's
true.
hundreds of thousands,
hundreds
if
of
not
thousands of
millions, putting reviews on
for things like that.
on places there.
I mean, in 1999, I've got the facts here, the British Film Institute voted Brazil as being the 54th greatest British film of all time. And then in 2017, in a poll of 150 actors, directors, writers and producers and critics for the Time Out magazine, saw it ranked to being the 24th best British film ever. This is from 2017, so
Yeah,
that would
That's
shows
pretty,
that
that's
it's fairly
recent.
still quite recent.
fairly
So we
Still
have the
relevant.
controversial opinion, not
Yes.
everyone else.
Just think as well that last one was 6 years ago.
Yeah,
It's not long.
it's not
So
that long for
it's-
too many
Yeah.
other better films to be made.
I
So I think it's definitely as
obviously,
relevant.
Yeah, British films we don't have that sort of projection that Hollywood do.
That's very
Like
valid.
in the
Yeah.
whole stage, because Hollywood can get like some of the best actors. We're sort of just stuck with. We're not usually going to get them actors.
We do have a lot of big budget
Yeah.
British films, but you are right in the fact that Hollywood does get a lot more international notice.
Well,
than
yeah, like you tend
British
to see
films do.
more British actors massive in Hollywood,
Yes.
and not American actors big in like British films.
Yeah, because the American actors will be brought up in America, do acting schools in America.
Generally,
So they'll start in America, end in America. But the British ones, they'll go to a British acting school.
Mhm.
Like they'll do a few British films. One of them can just go up. They'll get noticed from Hollywood and then move out to America.
I've been a bit prejudiced
Yeah, work
against
in
our
Hollywood.
society, like for
No,
film.
it's not prejudice against it. I'm just
Because
saying,
what was that film at the Oscars and BAFTAs this year? Was the
Banshees
Banshee?
of Inisherin.
Like
That's probably the.
that's like
That's
that,
a very.
that's massive. Has an Irish actor in it, and they're very
Well, it's
established
very
actors, and it's an Irish film technically. It's a British film, which I think we do. Well, Britain used to be very big for film until Hollywood came around,
Oh yeah.
and we still are big for film. We have massive
True.
film festivals, but yeah, you are right in the fact that like you go to Hollywood with these things like Paramount and stuff.
A lot of it has been
20th Century Fox or which is Disney now.
Yeah.
Disney then.
Disney
who owns
is actually-
everything.
yeah.
I mean, I think the best film festival has to be Dr. Brown's Film Studies class.
Oh, it was.
I
Memories
don't
now.
think you count that as a film festival.
It was.
Honourable mention.
Honourable
Some
mention.
of the people in there made it seem like they were at a festival with how they acted.
But I think it's definitely. I mean, like we've said this before. Like you should never not watch a film for what we say. It's
Yeah.
like
This is our opinion.
You should definitely go watch it. I don't know if Alfie's advice is quite good about maybe do it intoxicated.
Yeah. I think
See,
it would please let us know how it went if you did. I would love to know.
See
Genuinely.
if you feel like a fever dream. It definitely will.
You'll be left humming and insane at the end as
I think we need to put a disclaimer in now. Do not go and abuse alcohol and drugs.
Yeah, we're not.
Only if you're of a legal age.
Well, you're not,
Still not
you're
if you're of a legal age. Don't abuse it. It's
right.
not the right thing.
Bummer.
So I think, yeah, it's definitely something you can watch.
I would recommend
it is a
if
very
you've got the time.
You do have to have a taste for the film like that. It's not a film where you can. It's not a universal film where it'll target everyone to watch it. It is like, if you do not like this type of sci-fi genre, if you do not like this kind of dark comedy, if you do not like films set in the 80s.
I wouldn't call it dark comedy.
But that's what it is, though.
It was for the time, though, wasn't it?
I don't see any dark. I don't see any comedy in there. I can see the dark side, not the comedy.
Melted bodies falling out of corpses is normal?
Yeah.
Is that just a Tuesday for you?
Yeah. A little bit of body slurry coming out of a coffin. It's alright. Yeah.
Oh, it's fine.
Thursday it is, isn't it?
Slushy.
It is Thursday.
We are recording this on Thursday, yes.
Yeah. It's a normal Thursday.
I was like, I'll be going home to that.
So if any of you have, I don't know, spare time later today, give it a watch if you've got an interesting time.
If you've got a surplus of time and you don't have a taste for it, but you want to be bored and fall asleep, watch it.
Maybe just use the 2 hours and 20 minutes to go watch Brazil. So that is episode 2 of the 80s Cinema Club done and dusted. Never said that again. We have just looked at the 1985 film Brazil. We hope you enjoyed. Next week we will be looking at Dirty Dancing from 1987. I can't remember.
We'll go with it.
It's 86 or 87, hopefully.
I think it's
87. Follow us on all social medias. We have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
Yeah,
Facebook.
There will be a video of one of the hosts on the TikTok dancing to a song.
May or may not be Harry Peden.
It will be someone. We will hopefully.
One has to. Yeah, the forfeit.
Please follow us on all social medias. Please follow us on all social medias at 80s Cinema Club. I don't know, messages in with requests for films.
Yeah, let us know what you thought of the episode.
Let us know what the episode. Rate the podcast 5 stars or less if you didn't like it.
Yeah.
We'll see what it's like.
Rate it fully on opinion. Do not listen to this man. He is not a role model.
Please give us 5 stars. So, it's bye from me.
Bye from me.
Alfie.
And bye from me.
Thank you for listening.